back here on The Jump. Perk from Houston. Momo joins us in studio. And look, it's a story that kept on giving this summer and apparently still will into training camp. We just heard Doc there back in June on Simmons. Here's what he had to say today about the controversial comment.
It was being portrayed that I was out there saying, I don't think we can win with Ben, and I do. I told Ben that the next day. What really disappointed me was the next day I went on and said, guys, y'all knew exactly what I was talking about. And no one heard it. They just kept running their narrative. So, you know, I've been in sports a long time, and I'm not misrepresented very often, but in that case I was. But it is what it is. Ben knows, Rich knows, and I know.
So, Ramona, what's your reaction to Doc's explanation? And do you think the confusion around it is partly to blame for this drama with Simmons?
I don't think his comments has all that much. We're going to say it does now, but I think the issues that Ben has with the Sixers and everything, I think they go way before Doc or Embiid's comments. Even in that last playoff series, like, he was not right, as we all talked about every day. I mean, it didn't look like he wanted to be out on the court. Didn't look like they wanted him out on the court. That's a tough place for a franchise player to be. And I think, you know, I spoke to somebody very close to Ben this week, and it's really, it's not so much that Ben feels like they wronged him or that Doc said something that he can't take back. Ben just needs a fresh start. He just needs a fresh start. There's too much baggage there. And I think for his own career and his own mental state right here going forward into Philly, that's a hard bridge to cross back over. And I think his take on it is essentially, you know, Doc can say that today. And I think Doc understands, like, you say things right after a game. And he was upset. That was a very disappointing series, a very disappointing end to that season. I don't like that he said it was the first thing he was asked, because it was like the fifth question he was asked. It's a little mischaracterization of what happened in that post game. But he said what he said, and it was kind of obvious. Everybody was saying that after that game. It was obvious to anybody watching the game. So I thought it would have been disingenuous not to say it. So I just think Ben needs a fresh start, and everybody's focused on that. But the Sixers are not in a good position right now, and so they have to try to build back up his trade value and make it seem like they're not desperate to trade him.
Well, it's a few things to unravel right here, right? The first thing is that I didn't heard way worse in my playing career, and the guys then came back and played their tails off for organizations and being true professionals. Okay, look, I keep reminding people, all right, when you sign up for the NBA, things like this happen. You're going to get booed. Sometimes guys in the locker room or guys on your team or coaches are going to say something to the media. I mean, but having that mental toughness, you want to go and prove them wrong. And at that point in time, they asked Doc about, even if Doc did say that Ben Simmons, he don't know if Ben Simmons would be the starting point guard. They didn't say that he couldn't be a franchise player that couldn't help him. Who said that Doc didn't want to move him to the power forward or a different position? And I'm not here to justify or take up for Doc Rivers. I'm just saying. But at the end of the day, we got to hold Ben accountable, right? He had an off series. He had an off playoffs, and it happens. He lost his confidence. I get that. But at the end of the day, look, you have a job to do. You're getting paid a whole lot of money to do that job. Like, and if you don't want to be there, you had an option. Like, we keep talking about how it started way before Doc Rivers. Well, Ben Simmons had an option not to sign that contract when it started way before Doc Rivers as well. When he signed for almost $200 million, he didn't hesitate on that, and he knew it was problems that he was having way before that.
Yeah, I mean, fair. Yeah. But look, this is the situation we're in now. Ben Simmons has made it clear that he doesn't want to suit up for Philly ever again. But the Sixers are not completely giving up on him, trying to have Simmons report to camp and just try it out. Ramona, what can you tell us about Simmons' current state of mind right now?
Look, he just wants a fresh start. He said what he had to say to the Sixers when they flew out to meet him. They had a meeting here in August in Los Angeles, and I think that meeting was very important because it's one thing to have your agent say, I don't want to play here anymore, look for a trade. It's another thing to say it yourself to their face after they fly out to meet with you. They all said their piece. Doc Rivers said what he had to say then. Daryl Morey, Josh Harris, the owner. I mean, they said what they had to say to try to convince him to stay, and Ben doubled down and said, I don't want to come back. And so it's up to him whether he wants to sit out and take all that and lose all that money. But it's not, we're representing it in a way of, oh, how much money would he be willing to lose and fines that he can accumulate. It's not, he can get that money back after he gets traded. So it's a question of, does Ben Simmons want to miss a season? And as somebody who stood in the parking lot wondering if Kobe Bryant was going to show up one time before training camp, and Kobe did show up, I think it's a question of who Ben Simmons is. Does he mind sitting out half a season of basketball if it comes to that? Does he mind sitting out the entire season if it comes to that? Kobe, when it got down to it, did not want to sit out. He just, he wasn't going to lose his money, and he wasn't going to sit out a season. That might be how long Ben Simmons has to sit out.
Quickly, Perk, do you think you'd sit out the whole season if it came to that?
Well, I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing, the Philadelphia 76ers are not budging, so he got to be willing to sit out because they're not going to just trade him for anything, and they're willing to stand firm. And when you think about Ben, if he's willing to miss money and give back money after those fines, I mean, that's on him. I mean, but at the end of the day, like I keep saying, like, Ben, like, you want to make a good impression on everybody because once you have there like this, the next organization you go to, when you go to it, you got to make sure that you go and handle your business because this could be career altering to me.
I mean, as for the Sixers, the longer this goes, the more the rest of the team will have to answer for him, which could cause distractions in that locker room. And we'll see.
Starts Monday at training camp.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.